Welcome to movie number 2, working with Adobe Character Animator. Now this movie we're just going to quickly construct an easy example, so I just want to take you through that. Now just to begin with, showing you from the first movie, if you haven't seen that, it's just the preview movie, movie number 1 with Adobe Character Animator. Now here's the file that I'm working with. You see the plus symbol for the character. If I just close this right up, it's indicating the character, and this is like a crown, a keyframe, which will establish, and you'll see that in Adobe Animator just a minute, or as you've seen before in the preview. Just broken into the head containing all the elements, including the breakdown of the phonemes. So lots of files here. And you'll notice that's just on the neutral one at the moment, just a neutral mouth to fall back in place. Things like the blinking, you'll notice that's been labeled to work directly into Adobe Character Animator. This is a format that's just going to take it and really work nicely. We can add in a few key elements in animation, but essentially a lot of the animation is going to be looked after. So this is just a quick example. I want to just bring this into Character Animator, but first I'm going to show you, if I just close that, I won't save this one, I'm going to go to Character Animator and begin a new file. So down the bottom here, just open Character Animator. So I've opened up my file. In fact, it's opened up from the file that I think I already had there. We're going to create a new file. So just remember to, down here, just to reset the pose. Now it's reset, it just establishes where things are at. And I can do blinking, move out. Even if I go forward, everything's working in place nicely. And this one, of course, it's got its draggable elements. And I've also recorded an example here from the previous movie. So I'm going to go to File, New, and just to show you how we put this together. So New Project. Now, by the way, Character Animator will start saving all the changes for you, but just to establish where this is going to be, I'm going to just save it into the location of my current file here. So I'm going to call this Character Project 2. So just saving that into the chip, animate there, and I'll just go save. So it's a new file here. It's blank. But what I want to do is just work with some of the elements already provided with Character Animator. So nothing in the file at the moment. Here's my image all set to go. I'm just going to go to the welcome screen. Other than that, it's just file import, and we're going to use that in just a minute. But just to show you how this works, there is going to be a number of files you can start to help you get started for full-on animation. But just to get the initial character, this one here, if I click on that, it will just open up, and here it is, the character file. There's some things like the instructions you might not want, so I could actually maybe drag that into the trash. But essentially, there's also some smart objects linking up pre-existing key elements. So if I just minimize that, and you'll see here, now it's already loaded in, and it's already draggable, and all set up quite nicely to work with the way that they've structured this. Now there's all many ways to skin a cat, but essentially one way of putting it together, they've got a setup for you, which you can just deconstruct that Photoshop file. That Photoshop file, I think, just down the bottom here. So you can actually just even replace it with your own objects. So that's a good way to do it. But you may not need all of these files. We can rebuild them in there, and we can do that directly with Character Animator. But essentially, the draggable elements will be in the exact format. You'd have to stay with the same format. You can get rid of these and still use that to help you as a guide. Anyway, let's just minimize this and come back here. Now, it's quite a stretchy version here, so I just click out the deselect. But also if I let that go, we've got some lovely sliding, and this is the dragger ability here, which actually, it's actually just returning straight away, but we can maybe slide that up to 7, for example, if I click it up here, and slowly. So just remember that, it's a good way to do it. I'll just leave it in the existing setup, but please work with that. When you want to work with it, it's already got the puppet and the scene already created. So work with the welcome scene, and that works great, and look how that's logging up there with eyebrows and everything. So pretty good job. I'm not going to save that. I'm just going to go File, New Project now, and I'm going to call this Chip 2, Computer Human Interactive Program, which is what it stands for my chip character, but I'm going to work with that, and I'm just going to save in there, and here it loads up. It should be a blank frame. Let's just come along and create my own file. Now use the Photoshop files already existing to help produce what you want. I'm just going to get rid of this file. I don't want to close anymore. Don't save. Great. Blank file. File. Import. Let's go and locate my character here. And the one that I'm working with, it's all set up, is the one that's called New Puppet. So I'll click on that and I'll just go import. And it's coming along. Here it is. I can double click on that. And here's my character. Now let's just go and test it because I've really got it in the right format. See how we've got these crowns? So the character crown all the way through there. It's registered things nicely. But I click on elements, there's nothing set up at this stage. So I'm just going to go and have a look at the scene and see how that works. Just loading up now. Of course, no it's not. So where's my scene? Well, that's a really good point. Let's click a scene and just add one in there. So we need to do that. Now we can have several scenes and we can essentially put in a background, or several backgrounds really if you wanted to with layered files, but essentially that will need to be set up there. I've just got one scene in, I'm just going to go to white, so I want to see it in that format, and hold it. What's wrong there? My character's all over the place, moving everywhere, and it's a little bit too big. Well, I'm going to come to transform. Now I'm going to make this really easy. I'm not going to cover all the ways of setting up just to get you established, but you can see by using the correct phonemes, labeling them the correct way, basically everything works pretty good. I can zoom in there and stand out and it's registering quite nicely. Let's go to transform here. First thing I'm going to do, 100% scale. I'm just going to drag that down to about 50 something, 57. That's fine. Now we've got that fitting in the format. No, that's not working too good. We need to pin or we need to staple things in place. I want to do that. And I can't move any hands or anything. But my head and my eyes and blinking and all that's pretty good because we were in the right setup. Try and do most of the work for you in Photoshop. That's great. So let's go back to the puppet tool here and let's have a look at that. We've got the origin of the whole file. We've got all the setup. The first thing I'm going to come along here is just click on character, just to establish it, go to the staple tool and staple that in there. Just go back now to the puppet setup, see what we got. And great, that's pretty good. Now it's established there. So I've got it stapled and I'm going to work with it just nicely. No hands work or anything like that, but it's all looking good. Now let's see, let's go back to the puppet tool here. I'm just going to click on one arm and just get that established. What I do for one arm is going to be good for the two. As I say, really nice and simple, just to get you started, to show you how that works. Crown, we've got the right arm, we've got the left arm. Let's go into the right arm here. Right arm as in the character's right arm. Our left, but the character's right. First thing I'm going to do is establish, or not on the staple tool, go back to the pointer tool. I'm just going to go and establish where I want it to actually fit in, because that's where they're going to be the start of my point here. And let's see, we've got fixed, draggable. Well, I'm just going to leave these all standard so we can see what's happening here. But we can set things up to do different things. Okay. So the first thing here is I've got my pivot point. I'm going to go and then I'm going to add in some bones. These are called sticks. One there, and then I want a draggable handle. There's things like dangle, you can do here, and gravity effects, all these things, lots of tutorials to cover all these things. As I say, this is just about getting you started, nice and simple. Add in the draggable handle here. And draggable handle, well, that's a good point. It's not draggable at the moment. I'm going to click draggable. Now we need to do that to drag it. So I've still got my fixed point. I'm just going to go back to my pointer tool here. And let's go back and just see how things are working. Click on that. And yeah, everything's good. Blinking, moving, everything's fine. Move my shoulders and things. Let's go and drag. Oh, something's gone wrong here. Draggable, and that's fine. Let's go back in here and well, it snaps back pretty quickly too. Okay, what I'm going to do for a start is just within the file format here, draggable. I don't want it to go too fast. I want to give it 1 second. I'll do that now. But, just one would be just great. Oops, just let that up there. You can also type it in, but maybe I'll just say on 2 then. But I could type in there as well. Maybe I'll type it. 1, return. Yeah, let's just drag it away. Oh, that's a little bit nicer, but certainly not nice in terms of as it should be put together. Let's go back to our file here. Now, what could be wrong here? So, just clicking on that at the moment. Let's see. Attach style, free. I'll click on this. Maybe let's try and world it. Okay, we have hinge, freeform, hinge, we can hinge it around things a little bit. I want us to world it to the body. So let's go and have a look at that. World. Remember, remove that point there, the arm, pivot, and we'll go back now and have a look. Now, you don't need to save this program. It will automatically save. In fact, if I go save, it will say saving is automatic, so it'll keep on coming up with messages. So, oh, now look at that. It's draggable. I put the pivot point in the right place, and that's working just great. This one doesn't work. Oops, I try and click off that and drag that one. Just selecting that one. So we need to do the same draggable side to that format as well. Now, I think you can do the same to get that working. And initially, of just getting the character put together, we're done. We've got it correctly put together in Photoshop, brought it in, a lot of the work done for us. Got our head movement, our body. We've just added our own controls there without having to worry about all the smart objects or whatever. We just utilize that with a Photoshop file. Of course, it could be Illustrator file as well. But if it's going to be Photoshop, just make it bigger so you can bring it and scale it without pixelating it. So that's why I've created a larger format size. So I think we're pretty good to go with initially getting it going. Now, the first preview video showed you how to export it to a video format, also taking to siphon to use for projection mapping or live performance, but essentially just go through there and add it to Media Encoder. Check out the first movie on how to do that, but essentially we're done. So thank you for watching how to put together a character quickly in Adobe Character Animator.